Today, President Joko Widodo monitored the COVID-19 vaccination in Tamrin City and Grand Indonesia. Bukit Asam's net profit fell by 44.6% year-on-year. Good afternoon, viewers. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of informations from business, economic, and capital market sector. With me, Lantai Wijaya, and this is Market Headlines. President Joko Widodo monitored the implementations of COVID-19 vaccination for trading business actors in Tamrin City and Grand Indonesia, Jakarta. In his speech, Jokowi hoped that these vaccinations would help slow down, even eliminate the COVID-19.
President Joko Widodo directly monitored the COVID-19 vaccination for trading business players in Tamrin City and Grand Indonesia, Jakarta. The president was accompanied by Health Minister Budi Gunadi Sadikin, Jakarta Governor Anies Baswedan, and Kadin General Chairman Rozan P. Roslani. Jokowi toured the vaccination site for about 15 minutes while seen discussing with other accompanying state officials.
Pagi hari ini saya meninjau program vaksinasi yang dilakukan di Tamrin City dan Grand Indonesia. Ini dalam rangka agar seluruh pelayan toko dan yang berusaha di kawasan pertokoan, di mal, semuanya bisa divaksinasi dan kita harapkan itu bisa memperlambat, mengurangi dan menghilangkan penyebaran COVID-19.
The president then asked the public to be disciplined in implementing health protocols, both wearing masks, washing hands, and maintaining distance and not crowding as the main prevention of COVID-19 transmission. IDX Channel team reported.
The COVID-19 Handling Task Force asked the regional government to play an active role in restraining the high rate of community mobility ahead of Eid, where the task force emphasized that the positive active cases have increased to 5,241 cases as of April 28, 2021.
Deploying more security teams.
Pemerintah daerah harus mensosialisasikan secara jelas antara periode pengetatan mobilitas dan peniadaan kegiatan mudik. Sosialisasi harus dilakukan hingga ke akar rumput sehingga masyarakat dapat memahami dengan baik kebijakan mudik yang dikeluarkan oleh pemerintah. Oleh karena itu, saya juga meminta kerjasama rekan-rekan media untuk dapat menyampaikan informasi terkait pengetatan mobilitas dan peniadaan mudik sesuai dengan informasi yang sebelumnya telah disampaikan oleh Satgas.
We could emphasize that increasing population mobility has a direct impact on the increase in the number of cases. As in previous years, the Eid holiday period has always significantly increased the number of positive cases, considering the many activities carried out at the moment of Eid celebration. From Jakarta, Rizka Ayu for IDX Channel.
Statistik Indonesia or BPS noted that inflation throughout April 2021 was 0.13% month-on-month. The inflation realizations was higher than March 2021, which reached 0.08% month-on-month.
The Central Statistics Agency or BPS noted that inflation in April was recorded at 0.13%, which is higher than inflation in March 2021 of 0.08% month-on-month. On an annual basis, inflation in April 2021 was recorded at 1.42%. Deputy for Distribution Statistics and Services at BPS Setianto explained that out of 90 cities that were monitored, 72 cities experienced inflation, and the remaining 18 cities experienced deflation. Meanwhile, the highest increase in inflation was the city of Kota Mabagu, with inflation of 1.31%. Nationally, the driving factor for inflation throughout April was the increase in food and beverage prices and tobacco, which contributed to inflation of 0.05%.
Mencatat bahwa inflasi bulan April 2021 adalah sebesar 0,13%. Sementara untuk inflasi tahun kalender 2021 sebesar 0,58% dan inflasi tahun ke tahun atau April 2021 terhadap April 2020 sebesar 1,42%.
Setianto added that of the 18 cities that experienced deflation, the city of Jayapura contributed the highest deflation of 1.26%. So with this development, inflation during the year was recorded at 0.58%. From Jakarta, Raharjo Patmo for IDX Channel.
Retailers Association projected that 1 week before Raya, transactions in retail industry can reach 15 trillion rupiah, or it can increase around 30% from the beginning of the year. The recovery in the retail sector has begun to appear. The Indonesian Retailers Association stated that although the value of retail transactions can reach 15 trillion rupiah within a week before Raya, but it is still far from the value before COVID-19 pandemic. In the other hand, the association also ensures price stability and goods availability for consumers can be fulfilled within a week before Raya. The head of Indonesian Retailers Association said that the increase is projected to happen in the modern retail as well as non-modern retail. If Raya is not enough to boost people's purchasing power, then there will be Christmas and New Year momentum to boost transaction level. So that in the end of the year, the association predicts the increase in transaction value can be up to 40%.
Nah, ini yang terjadi di retail maupun juga di pasar tradisional atau pasar rakyat, toko tradisional, itu semuanya terjadi pergerakan, ya, terjadi peningkatan pembelanjaan, ya, semenjak hari Kamis minggu lalu, ya. Dan ini tentunya masih akan berlanjut di minggu ini, karena minggu ini jelang beberapa hari lagi akan mendapatkan THR.
Furthermore, Roy also advised all people who want to shop at the retail stores to be able to comply with the health protocols. Jakarta, Gilang Praditya for IDX Channel. Market headlines will be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned. Assalamualaikum Sobat Milenial, berikut adalah tips untuk mengatur dana THR. Yang pertama adalah menabung sebagian dari dana THR yang diterima. Dengan Anda menyisihkan dana THR untuk ditabung, Anda dapat mencegah pengeluaran yang tidak terkontrol. Kedua, membatasi belanja online. Di tengah Ramadan dan Idul Fitri banyak sekali e-commerce yang menebar diskon di mana-mana. Nah, Sobat Milenial, jangan terjebak. Prioritaskan dana THR untuk kebutuhan utama. Yang ketiga adalah zakat dan sedekah. Anda bisa mengalokasikan 2,5% dari THR untuk zakat fitrah dan sisanya bisa dialokasikan untuk berbagi kepada sesama. Keempat, dana darurat. Di tengah pandemi virus corona, dana darurat dapat menghindarkan kita dari kejadian yang tidak diinginkan. Ya Sobat Milenial, memang menerima THR ini merupakan momen yang ditunggu-tunggu pada saat Lebaran, tapi tetap harus bijaksana dalam penggunaan THR dan harus menggunakan dananya sewajar-wajarnya dan juga jangan boros.
Benarkah tren memastikan transisi ke energi baru dan terbarukan tidak membuat industri energi fosil lantas surut. Seperti apa dampaknya terhadap sektor migas?
Turunnya atau rendahnya harga minyak dan gas yang sangat drastis turunnya, adanya pandemi yang membuat terbatasnya pergerakan.
Langkah yang dilakukan apa nih Pak?
Hingga hari ini saya kira brand hari ini sekitar 55. Ini sesuatu yang positif untuk industri yang itu kira.
Maksudnya kalau pesan saya buat teman-teman yang mau bikin kue di rumah misalnya pernah gagal itu coba lagi.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. Food and Drug Supervisory Agency has green-lighted the COVID-19 vaccine produced by Chinese pharmaceutical company Sinopharm for emergency use in Indonesia, in a move that it could accelerate the country's vaccinations program. Penny Lukito, Food and Drug Supervisory Agency's head, said in a press conference Sinopharm was the first among several vaccines private sectors proposed to use in their vaccination program that got clearance from the agency. Plus, Indonesian Technical Advisory Group on Immunizations and clinical experts have reviewed Sinopharm's data and determined that the vaccine is safe and effective.
Dan berdasarkan hasil evaluasi secara keseluruhan terhadap data-data yang kami terima, baik itu data mutu, data produksi, ataupun juga data dari studi-studi preklinik dan studi klinik, dapat disimpulkan bahwa pemberian vaksin SARS-CoV-2 vaksin Verocell Inactivated Sinopharm 2 dosis dengan selang pemberian 21 sampai dengan 28 hari menunjukkan profil keamanan yang dapat ditoleransi dengan baik dan efikasi serta respon untuk meningkatkan imun yang baik.
Sinopharm third phase clinical result shows that its COVID-19 vaccines has 79% efficacy, meaning the proportions of infections among vaccinated people is about fifth of the proportions of infections among those who were not vaccinated. The private sector was keen to carry out several vaccinations programs to accelerate the vaccination rate in the country, including the government prioritizes vaccinations on healthcare workers, workers in the services industry, and the elderly. From Jakarta, Ricky Anwar, the IDX Channel. Now into the latest story of COVID-19, Indonesia's drug regulator on Friday approved the COVID-19 vaccine of China's Sinopharm. After Sinovac, Biotech, and AstraZeneca, Sinopharm is the third company to have its vaccine approved by Indonesia, which is seeking to inoculate 181.5 million people by January 2022. But before we examine more about that, let's know first about Sinopharm itself through the next graphic. Here it is through the next graphic. Its developer, Beijing Biological Product Institute, a unit of Sinopharm subsidiary China National Biotech Group, has said that the vaccine was 79.34% effective in preventing people from developing the disease. And Sinopharm has presented the data on their COVID-19 vaccines, indicating the level of efficacy that would be compatible with those required by the World Health Organization. So in July 2020, China approved the vaccine and began exporting it to other countries. It has been approved in several countries, including China, Pakistan, and United Arab Emirates. Now, after Indonesia, Penny Lukito, as the chief of Indonesia's Food and Drug Agency, said that the Sinopharm vaccine recipients had reported higher antibody rates and rare side effects such as swelling or diarrhea. And overall, the arrival of the Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccines has made Indonesia has 73.9 million doses of vaccine. So let's see the detail in the next graphic. Here it is. Indonesia so far has 73.9 million vaccines, with the first phase of 1.2 billion vaccines, but in the other day, in the 10th phase, it has 6 billion doses. And some are ready to use vaccines, and some are still in the raw materials, as well as semi-finished vaccine. As Indonesia received 500,000 doses of Sinopharm vaccine given by the United Arab Emirates government, it means that the total vaccines is now 74.4 million doses. However, Indonesia's vaccinations program has slowed due to export ban from India and other supply issues. Although Health Minister Budi Gunadisadikin said that he hoped that it could get back on the track in May, but therefore, Sinopharm will be used in the private immunization scheme, whereas the companies buy government-procured vaccines to inoculate their staff. Based on the regulations of the Minister of Health number 10 of 2021 concerning about the implementations of vaccination, the private scheme will use a different type of vaccine from a type of use in the government program. So let's see the classifications in the next graphic. Here it is. Through the next graphic, we can see the classifications. For the private scheme program, we have Sinopharm and Moderna, only two. But for the government program, we got Sinovac, AstraZeneca, Novavax, and also Pfizer. But looking at the number of doses that have arrived in Indonesia at this time, if it is calculated based on the need for Indonesia vaccines, then only about 17% of the total vaccine doses needed are obtained. Previously, Health Minister Budi Gunadisadikin said that Indonesia needed 426 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine to vaccinate its 181 million people. And yes, Verdi Budi Darmo, as the CEO of pharmaceutical company Kimia Pharma, which distributes the vaccines, say that the private vaccination program, which starts next month, could be a backup to the government to reach herd immunity. In Indonesia, the COVID-19 vaccinations has started since January 13, 2022. And up to this moment, the program has been going so well. So let's see the latest progress about the vaccinations in the next graphic. So here it is. Through the next graphic, we can see the latest data, which is the May 2nd, 2021. There are around 20 million doses in Indonesia. And for the first phase, it contains 12.4 million doses, while the second phase, it contains of 7.6 million of doses. And according to the latest data, the number of COVID-19 vaccine recipients in Indonesia has increased by 13,901 people, bringing the total into 12.4 million people who have received the COVID-19 vaccine injections until May 2nd, 2021 by giving the first dose of injections. Although currently the majority of Muslims are fasting in the Ramadan, the COVID-19 vaccinations program continues. Moreover, the Indonesian Ulama Council, or MUI, has also issued a fatwa that receiving COVID-19 vaccination shots during the day does not break the fasting. Since it was first announced by President Joko Widodo in March 2020, COVID-19 is still currently infecting thousands of people throughout the country every day. And therefore, vaccination is a part of the efforts of Indonesian people to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still spreading. Stay tuned with market headlines because we will be right back after this quick break.
Bagaimana tanggapan dari pengusaha dengan angka ini?
Tentu membuat kita harus lebih berhati-hati.
Langkah apa yang tepat?
Jadi kita harus bisa menunjukkan kepada masyarakat bahwa vaksinasi itu penting.
Seluruh masyarakat warga Indonesia untuk dapat berinvestasi.
Halo Sobat Milenial, berikut adalah pilihan investasi untuk Sobat Milenial. Yang pertama adalah tabungan di bank. Nah, tabungan di bank ini sifatnya sangat liquid, jadi dapat diambil kapanpun dan dalam bentuk cash. Yang kedua adalah deposito. Investasi dalam deposito dapat diambil ketika jatuh tempo dengan tenor tertentu dan imbal hasilnya 5-6% per tahun. Dan yang ketiga adalah investasi dalam bentuk obligasi. Nah, obligasi ini dibagi dua. Ada obligasi yang diterbitkan oleh pemerintah dan ada obligasi yang diterbitkan oleh perusahaan swasta. Yang keempat, investasi saham. Dengan berinvestasi saham, kita akan mendapatkan dividen atau bagi hasil dari perusahaan. Dan yang kelima adalah investasi reksadana. Reksadana adalah produk investasi yang dikelola oleh manajer investasi. Dalam reksadana dapat menjanjikan imbal hasil 10-20% per tahun. So, kamu pilih investasi yang mana?
Welcome back to Market Headlines. So viewers, let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCR was open at a level of 5,999.66 and approaching the closing time in the first session. The index was on the level of 5,946.64 and the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at a level of 5,952.6. In short, JCI went down 0.72%. Next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got basic industry as the leader of strengthening trend that went up 0.79%. Misk industry went up 0.77%. And next, we got finance as the leader of the weakening trend that went down 0.99%. And trade went up 0.63%. Moving on to top gainers and top losers, here are the key highlights from today's trading sessions. We got Aneka Tambang that went up 0.2%. We got Bank that went up 1.17%. We got BRMS that went up 13.98%. And we got Zinc that went up 4.83%. Meantime, for the top losers for today's trading stations, we got BBRI that went down 0.99%. We got Telkom Indonesia that went down 0.94%. We got BBCA that went down 0.23% and BMRI that went down 2.02%. Next, we're going to see the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,453. Rupiah was also showing strengthening trend towards US dollar. I was close at the level of 14,420. In summary, rupiah went up 0.2%. Step aside from market conditions as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situations. Here is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close on market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic business and capital market channel. I'm Clara Antawijaya. Have a nice evening and stay safe. I'm associate producer and news presenter on Market Headlines. As Market Headlines starts at 4:30 p.m., which is in line with the closing market, therefore we summarize market conditions only for you. And my job in here as a journalist, I give concise and accurate news for the audience. And also, being a journalist is not only a job for me, but it is also a passion.